Kevin Morris and Hunter Biden. Remember those guys? Their financial shenanigans. The guy on the left, Kevin just loaning millions of dollars to Hunter. Hunter not declaring income. Hunter doing all kinds of crazy stuff with his money. It got the attention of, well, the IRS. Obviously, it would. And then it became a federal case because these guys, definitely Hunter, did some bad things. I think we all know that by now. Strangely, it's been reported and testified to that the U.S. Attorney, David Weiss, and a lot of members of his staff seem to have, I don't know, competing agendas, worries about the Bidens perhaps, a lack of urgency on this case, and roadblocks were thrown up by individuals trying to stop the work, it seems to me, of these two heroes, Gary Shapley and Joe Ziegler. And you guys, we remember when you testified, it was awesome. It was moving, brave, and you've been rewarded. At one point, we thought you might be drummed out of your jobs, but Gary Shapley, you are now the Deputy Chief of IRS Criminal Investigations and Senior Advisor to the Treasury Secretary. Congratulations. And Joe Ziegler, Treasury Department Senior Advisor. I hope I got those new titles right because they sound like serious promotions to me. Congratulations to you both. Joe, how do you feel about the new job? And I hope I got most of that right.
Well, both Gary and I appreciate you for having us on your show. An immense amount of weight is lifted off of our shoulders. It honestly feels good. And to be in this position to where we are going to continue to affect change and eliminating the bureaucracy that has infected the federal government, I really look forward to working with Secretary Bessent and his team in rooting out a lot of these issues that we encountered as a part of the Hunter Biden investigation.
Wow. And along the way, I mean, could you ever have imagined, Gary, something like this happening? What did you think was your future when they started kind of hassling you in big ways and small ways at work?
Look, I didn't know what the future held. It wasn't part of our calculus when we came forward to tell the truth. You know, when we saw what we saw, when we saw the weaponization of the Department of Justice and FBI and IRS senior leadership, you know, we had to come forward. So it looked for a couple of years, right? When I started to come out in late 2022, Donald Trump hadn't even said that he was going to run yet. Both chambers were controlled by the Democrats, and you know it was nothing but risk for me to come forward, and I did it because it was the right thing to do. Joe Ziegler did it because it was the right thing to do, and I hope that others in our situation would do the same.
Well, you were agents for the IRS. You were doing your job, investigating what appeared to be very strange financial transactions and withholding of income, not reporting it. You came forward, roadblocks. I'd like to show the folks a compilation of your testimony from a while back. Take a look.
I've recently discovered that people are saying that I must be more credible because I'm a Democrat who happens to be married to a man. I'm no more credible than this man sitting next to me. The truth is, my credibility comes today from my job experience with the IRS and my intimate knowledge of the agency's standard and procedures.
I have been attacked as incompetent and falsely accused of being a liar, a leaker, or both, all by people who know nothing about me or the facts of this case. Some question if I should even be called a whistleblower. I'm not here to support partisan agendas on either side. I'm here because our tax system relies on the American people having confidence it is administered fairly and equally for everyone, regardless of your last name or political connections.
Wow. And you were going through that before you testified. What happened after the testimony, Joe? Did it get worse? Were you guys iced out? What was it like?
The marginalization and isolation was incredible. The amount of depression you go through when that happens to you, senior leaders trying to affect your everyday, the ability to do your job and shutting down things that you're working on that they said was the future of our agency, that other senior leaders had said that. And it became really apparent to Gary and I, because of us coming forward, because of us blowing the whistle, that there were many people in IRS who were trying to derail us and trying to make us not appear like the agents that we are.
Wow. Hey, let me ask you, Gary, first of all, if you don't mind, can you just summarize, and I know it's complicated and I know it goes on and on, but just bottom line, what was Hunter Biden up to with his finances? If you could just kind of put it in a nutshell for us.
Sure, yeah. So, I mean, I was a supervisor on the case. Joe Ziegler started the case. He developed the case. He knows every single fact about the case. So I'd probably defer to Joe. I think you get the best answer out of Joe.
All right, Joe, take us through it.
So essentially, the case involved IRS and FBI. Part of our financial investigation were the fact that Hunter Biden had unfiled and unpaid taxes for certain tax years, did not report the Burisma income for the 2014 tax year. There were multiple felony and misdemeanor tax charges on the table. All of those were approved or were recommended for approval by the 4 prosecutors on the case. When this case was, so the venue of the case wasn't in Delaware, which was where we were investigating the case out of. So we knew we had to go to the District of DC and then California to bring certain charges for certain counts of the tax charges. So those U.S. attorneys, who are Biden-appointed U.S. attorneys, infiltrated themselves into the investigation and basically stonewalled us from being able to charge those tax charges in those jurisdictions. So, I mean, that's exactly what we saw on the case.
And the name Hunter Biden did not come up, hey, let's check out Hunter Biden's situation. I've always been curious about that guy. It came up like organically, right? Another thing you guys were looking into. That's right. Right, Joe? Fair enough?
Yeah, so I want to be completely clear on this. This was a part of my normal everyday. I was reviewing bank reports in another case I was working. In that bank report, Hunter Biden was mentioned as paying prostitutes related to this other thing that I was working.
Yeah.
And then I also found media reporting that his ex-wife was saying in divorce proceedings that he had tax issues. It mentioned the diamond. There were a lot of things that were in the public record. And I knew that at that point it was, well, let me look into this further.
Yeah.
Brought this up to my manager at the time, brought this up, and a lot of people were like, no, big cases, big problems. I wouldn't even, but you know what? We got to treat everyone the same. I knew that was the best path forward, and you got to investigate what's in front of you.
Totally get it. Hey, Gary, by the way, before this happened, did you see other examples of the IRS, picking and choosing and calling on a smaller scale? Or is everything humming along just great? Most of us are not, don't have fathers who are president, you know what I mean? Like, does this kind of thing happen a lot on a smaller scale?
I had not seen something like this before, and that's what I testified to. And that's why when the anomalies were kept rising during this investigation, that we wanted to believe the prosecutors. We wanted to think the DOJ was going to do the right thing. We wanted to believe the FBI was going to do the right thing. And it was really a building blocks on top of each other that got to the point where we were moving to charge. And we knew that I knew that Merrick Garland had not been truthful in his testimony to Congress or what he was telling the American people. And I knew that David Weiss was not telling the truth when he said he had full authority. The facts just simply do not support it. And if they want to maintain that when they testify in the future, then we will provide additional information that supports the fact that they're not telling the truth.
Gary Shapley, previously the supervisory agent for the IRS. Now you're the Deputy Chief of IRS Criminal Investigations and Senior Advisor to the Treasury Secretary. Congratulations again. And Joe Ziegler, formerly Special Agent for the IRS, now Treasury Department Senior Advisor. It's awesome, guys. Congratulations, and good luck in the new jobs. And I'm sure a lot of people are worried, but I know you guys are going to be fair going forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for having us.
Information. Truth is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.